Hindi ako sanay mag-post ng mahaba, pero kailangan ko ilabas ito in a way na malinaw at maayos. I am not looking for revenge, and I am not asking people to pick a side. Gusto ko lang ng perspective kung paano mag-move forward nang hindi nagkakagulo at kung paano ko hahawakan ang practical parts na may legal implications. For context, I'm 29F and my partner is 31M. Tawagin ko na lang siya na P. We have been together for almost 8 years. Hindi kami perfect pero stable kami. We shared a home for the last 3 years, we split bills, and we had a plan that felt real. Engagement by the end of this year, then wedding the next, then kids when we were financially ready. May isa pang tao dito. M. She is my closest friend since college. Hindi siya friend of a friend. She was the person I called when I lost my first job, when my dad got sick, when I needed someone to sit with me in silence. Nandun siya sa mga birthdays, holidays, even sa mga ordinary days na parang walang nangyayari. Pero somehow, mas gumagaan ang buhay because you're not alone. I believed I knew both of them. I believed I had earned that trust. May mga changes na hindi naman obvious at first. It was not one big event. Parang weather na unti-unting nag-iiba. Hanggang sa magugulat ka na lang malamig na pala. P. Started being careful with his phone. Not dramatic. Not the snatch the phone away type. More like always face down, always on silent, always I'll reply later. Kapag tumutunog, he would glance quickly, then continue talking as if nothing happened. Parang may small pause sa kanya na dati wala. I noticed it, pero I told myself, work stress. He had a new role, more responsibilities. Baka confidential, baka normal lang na ayaw niyang madistract. Then there were the small absences. Hindi yung I went missing for hours. Na obvious, it was I'll be home by 7 becoming 8:30. It was may meeting ako on a weekend. It was the kind of schedule shift that you can explain away if you want to. At gusto ko i-explain away kasi mahal ko siya. M meanwhile, started messaging me less. Not ghosting, not rude. Just delayed. She used to reply within minutes even if it was just a heart emoji or busy ngayon. Suddenly, one day would pass. Then two. Then she'd apologize, say she's tired, say she's focusing on mental health. I respected that. I gave space. Pero may moments na nag-overlap sila. And that's when I felt something I couldn't name. Example, I would mention to M na may plan kaming pumunta sa isang cafe this Friday. Then P would bring up randomly na maybe we should try that cafe soon. Same cafe, same week. I told myself, coincidence. Maybe I mentioned it to him before. Maybe M posted it somewhere. Maybe my brain was connecting things that weren't connected. Another time, I told P na I felt anxious about finances, that I wanted to tighten our budget. The next day, M texted me saying, if you ever need help budgeting, I can share a template. It was kind. It was also oddly timed. I asked her why she brought it up. Sabi niya, I just thought of you. I accepted it. But I felt a small coldness at the back of my neck. I hate that feeling. Yung parang may nakikita kang maliit na crack sa pader and you pretend it's nothing because you don't want to know what happens if you touch it. One evening, he was in the shower and his phone lit up. I was on the couch and I saw the notification banner from the corner of my eye. Hindi ko dapat tinitignan. I know that I am not proud of even noticing. The banner was brief. I didn't see the full message, but I saw the name, M. I froze. Literally. My body went still, then my stomach dropped. Ang dami pumasok sa isip ko. Why is M messaging him directly? They know each other, yes. Pero usually, kung may kailangan si M, she messages me. If they coordinate something, it's in a group chat, with me included. That was our normal. I tried to stay calm. I told myself, maybe it's about a surprise for me. Maybe it's about a gift. Maybe it's about a plan. I held on to every innocent explanation like it was a legal defense. When P came out of the shower, I asked casually, nag-message ba si M? I said it lightly, like I didn't care. He didn't look at me. He looked at the fridge. He said, yeah, tungkol sa schedule. Then he changed the topic quickly. He asked if I wanted tea. Wala akong pruweba. I had only a banner, a name, a weird feeling. So I did what I always do when I love someone. I gave the benefit of the doubt. At the same time, I started paying closer attention. Not in a dramatic way, but in a quiet way. I noted patterns. I watched, and I tried to act normal. That's the part I feel ashamed of now. The screenshot came 2 weeks ago. It was from someone I barely know. Jay, a friend of M's from her workplace. We met once at a small gathering. We exchanged polite conversations. That's it. I received a message request from Jay on a weekday around 11:40 p.m. It was late enough that my first thought was emergency. I accepted the request. Jay wrote, "Hi, I'm sorry to message like this. I don't know how else to do it. I'm not trying to cause trouble. I think you deserve to know." Then, a screenshot. No warning, no long explanation, just an image. I opened it and my hands started shaking. My fingers felt numb, like I couldn't grip the phone properly. It was a screenshot of a chat conversation. It looked like a private thread. I could see M's name at the top and I could read enough to understand. M, are you sure she doesn't suspect? P, she asked once. I handled it. M, I hate lying to her. P, then, stop asking questions. We agreed. M, next time, don't leave your jacket here. She'll notice. P, I'll come later. Same place. Then, the line that made my throat go dry. M, when she finds out, I don't want to be the villain. P, no one has to be the villain. We just have to be careful. I stared at the screen like it was written in a language I didn't know, and my brain kept translating it back into denial. Maybe it's fake. Maybe names were edited. Maybe it's about something else. But the details were too specific. The tone was too familiar. The timestamps matched nights when E came home late. The jacket line made sense because P had a jacket I didn't remember buying, and he once said it was old. Jay followed up with a short message. I saw this because M left her laptop open at work. I shouldn't have looked, but when I saw your name in another chat, I recognized it from her photos. I took a photo of the screen. I'm sorry, I know this is invasive. I'm sending it because I think you're being deceived. I read Jay's message several times. I felt sick. I was angry at Jay for looking. I was grateful. I was disgusted. I was confused. Everything at the same time. Then I realized something. Even if Jay's method was wrong, the content was not an accident. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was coordination. My body wanted to collapse, but my mind went into a strange, cold clarity. Parang may part sa akin na nag-switch on. Document, preserve, assess. I took screenshots of the screenshot. I saved it in multiple places. I emailed it to myself. I did not edit it. I kept it as is. And I kept Jay's messages. Then I did something I never thought I would do. I checked P's phone records on the shared account portal. We have a joint plan so I could see logs. I did not read any content. I looked only at patterns, frequency, time, numbers. There it was. A number I didn't recognize, repeated, often late at night. Then I realized it matched M's second SIM, something she mentioned once for work purposes. I sat on the floor of our living room, holding my phone, staring at a list of numbers like it was a medical diagnosis. I was not okay, pero I was still functioning. The next morning, I asked E to sit with me at the dining table. I made coffee. My hands were steady, but my chest felt tight, like it was hard to breathe fully. I said, may kailangan tayong pag-usapan. I will ask direct questions. I need direct answers. He looked cautious. He said, okay. I placed my phone on the table and showed him the screenshot. I didn't slam it. I didn't throw it. I slid it toward him. The color drained from his face. Hindi siya nagtanong kung saan galing. He didn't laugh. He didn't deny immediately. He stared at it. Then he leaned back. For a moment, there was silence. Then he said, this is complicated. That was his first sentence. I remember thinking, complicated? His first move was to prepare me for a narrative. I said, is it true? Yes or no? He said, Yes. I felt my throat tighten. My eyes burned but I didn't cry yet. Parang late pa dumating yung tears, like my body needed permission. I asked, how long? He said, a few months. I asked, physical? He hesitated. He said, yes. I asked, did you plan to tell me? He looked down. He said, I didn't know how. Those answers were brief, almost procedural, like he wanted to limit exposure. Then he said, I didn't want to hurt you. I care about you. I listened. I didn't yell. I said, you did hurt me, and you chose this repeatedly. Please do not frame this as protection. He started to cry. That part shocked me. Not because men can't cry, but because his crying felt like a strategy, like he wanted my empathy to soften the consequences. I said, I need you to leave the apartment today. This is not a negotiation. We can talk later about logistics. He asked, where am I supposed to go? I said, that is your responsibility. I'm not proud of sounding cold, but I needed boundaries. I needed something solid to hold on to because the truth had just removed the floor under me. He left that afternoon. He packed a bag. He didn't take everything. He asked if we could talk in a few days. I said no, not yet. When the door closed, I stood there and stared at the lock like it was the only thing keeping me from drowning. That evening, nag-message ako kay we need to meet tonight, public place, 7 p.m. Walang extra explanation. Ayoko nang pahabain pa sa chat at ayoko ring mabigyan siya ng oras para maghanda ng narrative. She replied fast, which was unusual for her lately. Okay, what's going on? Dun pa lang, ramdam ko na yung tension. Kung normal lang, bakit parang biglang attentive? Nagkita kami sa cafe. I picked a corner table hindi para magtago kundi para controlled. I also chose a place with enough people around so no one would cause a scene and walang chance na ma-escalate into something public. Gusto ko malinaw, usapan nito hindi show. Pagdating niya, halatang worried siya. Umupo siya at tinanong, are you okay? Hindi ako sumagot. Hindi dahil gusto kong maging harsh. Pero kasi alam ko na kapag nagsalita ako agad, baka mauna yung emotion kaysa sa point. I showed her the screenshot. Inilapag ko sa harap niya, steady hands, voice low. Parang may hearing, pero walang audience. She stared at it. Bumuka yung bibig niya pero walang lumabas na salita. Then she whispered, oh my God. Wala siyang tanong na fake ba to? Wala ring defensive reaction. Just shock. I asked, is it true? Direct. Walang paligoy. She started crying immediately. Tinakpan niya yung bibig niya at sinabi, I'm so sorry. Pero hindi ko kayang tanggapin ang sorry as a substitute for an answer. Mabigo, that's not an answer. Tumango siya, eyes down. Yes, it's true. Parang may humigpit sa dibdib ko. Hindi yung dramatic, yung klase ng sakit na tahimik pero mabigat. I asked, why? She said, it just happened. Huminga ako. Pinigilan ko sarili ko. Sabi ko, no. A relationship doesn't just happen without repeated decisions. You planned, you hid, you coordinated, you discussed my suspicions like an obstacle. So I'll ask again, bakit? Kailangan kong marinig kung may accountability man lang. She looked at me like she wanted me to rescue her from accountability. Parang inaasahan niyang lalambot ako. She said I felt lonely. He understood me. Hindi ko siya minura. Hindi ko siya tinawag ng pangalan. Sabi ko, you were lonely and you chose to betray me. Those are two separate facts. Kasi pwede kang malungkot at humingi ng tulong. Pero ibang bagay yung gumawa ng lihim at paulit-ulit. She tried to explain how it started, late night conversations, shared frustrations, emotional closeness. Sabi niya she didn't intend it. She hated herself. She was scared to lose me. Narinig ko lahat pero may part sa akin na unti-unting humihiwalay. I listened pero detaching na ako. Kasi kahit anong explanation, the outcome was the same. She accepted my trust and used it as access. She had entry to my life because I gave it and she used that entry to hide something that would break me. I asked one last question kasi gusto kong maging fair sa sarili ko. When you looked at me in my own home, when you hugged me, when you told me you were proud of me, were those lies? She said, no, I love you. That sentence hurt more than the others. Kasi kung kaya niyang sabihin na she loves me habang ginagawa ito, ano pa ang meaning ng love? If he cared, what did that care actually mean? It felt like my understanding of people got damaged, not just my relationship. I said, for the avoidance of doubt, I will not be in contact with you after this. Do not message me. Do not come to my home. If you need to communicate regarding shared items, do it in writing through a neutral person. Ayoko ng may gray area. I wanted it clear, formal, and enforceable in practice. No? She said, please don't do this. Sabi ko, this is my decision. Hindi ko na idinagdag pa, wala nang debate. Then I stood up and left. Paglabas ko ng cafe, malamig yung hangin. I walked to my car. And dun lang ako umiyak quietly, properly, like grief. Hindi yung galit na sumasabog, kundi yung lungkot na parang may nawala na hindi na maibabalik. Kapag betrayal ang usapan, people focus on feelings. The pain is real, yes. Pero may practical side na parang paperwork ng heartbreak. We share a lease, we share utilities, we share a savings account for future plans, we have furniture purchased together. Some items are mine, some are his, some are unclear. At kapag unclear, pwedeng lumala kung padalos-dalos. The next day, I reviewed documents. I printed the lease, noted the renewal terms, and checked the joint account history. I did not move money without thinking. I did not drain accounts. I understand that acting rashly can create liability and can be construed as improper depending on the jurisdiction and agreements. I called the bank to ask procedural questions. How to separate accounts, what documentation is required, what happens if one person disputes. Hindi ako nag-akusa sa phone. I asked only about options. I documented the call time, the agent's name, and the reference number. I also booked a consultation with a legal professional. I'm not sharing advice here. I'm only saying I wanted to understand obligations, rights, and risks. I wanted compliance, not vengeance. It felt surreal. Parang ganito ba talaga? From planning a wedding to reading lease clauses in 48 hours? The hardest part isn't only the romantic betrayal, it's the collapse of the past. When someone cheats, it doesn't only break the present, it changes the meaning of old memories. Parang binabago niya yung subtitle ng mga lumang eksena. Naalala ko yung time na nag-hospital ako for a minor procedure, and both E and M visited me. They brought food, they laughed softly so they wouldn't disturb others. I used to remember that as love. Now I look back and wonder, was that before? Was that during? Were they already hiding something while holding my hand? Ang sakit nung thought na iyon kasi it makes the memory feel contaminated. At night, I replay conversations. Not obsessively, but my mind does it like a reflex. The jokes, the small looks, the times they offered to help, the times I felt safe. Tapos biglang papasok yung tanong, how did I not see it? I'm trying not to blame myself. I did not force them to betray me. I did not author their decisions. Trusting people is not a crime. Pero may shame pa rin hindi dahil mali ako, kundi dahil pakiramdam ko na manage nila yung private life ko behind my back. This is the part that makes me feel nauseous in a different way. Consent is not only physical. It's also the conditions under which you agree to build a life with someone. If I had known the truth, I would not have made certain choices. Joint accounts, financial plans, shared obligations. When E and I discussed our future while he was sleeping with M, that discussion wasn't honest. It wasn't informed. It felt like my ability to choose was taken from me. I keep thinking of M too. She didn't just date my boyfriend. She entered my home. Kumain siya ng pagkain na inihain ko. She listened to my fears. She looked at me while knowing I was operating with incomplete facts. That feels like a violation that goes beyond romance. It's a breach of duty that exists in close relationships. Not necessarily legal duty, but a human one. I told a small number of people. Hindi ako nag-broadcast. I did not name them publicly. I did not send the screenshot around. I only informed those who needed to know for logistics and emotional support. Some people reacted with anger on my behalf. Some wanted me to expose them. Some wanted receipts shared. Naintindihan ko yung urge, pero ayoko gawing public trial yung buhay ko. I also don't want to make statements that could be construed as defamation or harassment. Wala akong desire gumawa ng spectacle. And practically, once you go public, you lose control. You invite collateral damage. Ayoko madamay pamilya ko. Ayoko madamay workplace ni M. So I kept it limited. Some people think silence equals weakness. For me, silence is containment. It's choosing a controlled exit instead of a fire. I keep returning to one question. Did they ever respect me? Not love, not attraction, respect. Cheating requires a person to split you into two versions, the real you and the you they deceive. They manage your emotions, measure your suspicion, and keep you functional enough to maintain the life they benefit from while they do what they want elsewhere. That's not a mistake. That's a system. When I read the line, "Are you sure she doesn't suspect?" I saw myself through their eyes, not as a partner, not as a friend, as a risk. And that is hard to unsee. Weeks later, P has been messaging me, asking to talk. He writes long paragraphs about regret. He says he wants to explain. He says he will do anything. M tried to contact me twice, once through a mutual friend. I did not respond. I told the mutual friend politely that I'm not available for discussion and that I request my boundary be respected. Right now, I'm focused on separating finances in a lawful, documented way, clarifying lease obligations in writing, dividing shared property using an inventory list, communicating only through written channels when necessary, staying calm, because panic makes people sloppy. Emotionally, I am not okay, pero functional pa. I eat, I work, I talk to one friend who knows everything. My chest feels tight at night. Some mornings, I forget for 5 seconds, then I remember, and it hits again. I watch ordinary things, people ordering coffee, couples walking, and it feels like I'm outside of life, looking in. Hindi ako naghahanap ng drag them comments. I also don't need forgive advice as if forgiveness is a duty I owe. What I need is perspective from people who've been through something similar, especially kapag betrayal is from two people you trusted. How did you rebuild your judgment without becoming suspicious of everyone? If you took a formal, contained approach, did you ever regret not exposing them? How do you grieve a friendship like this? If you read all of this, thank you. Hindi ko alam kung ano next chapter, but I want it to be one I choose with my eyes open. The end. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to come back tomorrow for more stories. Once again, I'm Lechon, and I'll see you next time.